Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Chibi Trainer Pokémon Podcast, the place where we talk all things Pokémon, from the TCG to the games to everything in between. And my name is Ryan. Now, the Pokémon took a little bit of a break, but I'm picking it right back up. Before we carry on, we had such a house move and we're planning so much in for the year. There's so much going on. We're house moved, but now we are settled. So I am now ready to pick the reins back up for the podcast. So sorry for the hiatus, but we're back. We're going to do this. And today's episode is a really special one because we're diving in something that honestly defines my entire kind of identity with Pokemon at this point, and that is Ghost-type Pokemon. And I feel that right now, more than ever, Ghost types are having a full moment, whether it's in the games, the trading card game, or even just online. People seem to be connecting with Ghost type Pokemon in a way that feels different, and not just because it's not even spooky season right now. So a lot of people seem to pick up Ghost type Pokemon or that kind of theme around that kind of time. But it's April, we're getting into spring, we're getting into summer, and people are seeming to react and vibe with Ghost type Pokemon in a much more loving and different way, and in a deeper kind of way. So today we're going to break down why that is, like what makes Ghost type Pokemon so unique, why they might actually be the most relatable type in all of Pokemon. But before we get into that, let's take a quick look at what's been happening in the world of Pokemon this week with some Pokemon news. Alright, so let's kick some things off with some Pokemon news. So we've got the Pokemon 30th anniversary going off. So yes, this is news, I guess, throughout the year. But one thing I've been seeing a lot of is people taking the What's Your Favorite Pokemon campaign and turning it into something a little bit more expanded. I guess I've been doing this on my Instagram as well. And I think the 30th anniversary theme of What's Your Favorite has got people thinking a lot about their own Pokemon journey and their own special kind of commitment or kind of love with Pokemon in a different kind of way. So my favorite Pokemon is Mimikyu. You'll see him when I go to an event. You'll see the little clips. You'll see the t-shirts. I'm always representing a Ghost type, and I'm always representing my favorite Mimikyu. But then I've also got a different tangent to What's Your Favorite as well, which is what's your favorite region? My favorite region and my favorite games are Pokemon Black and White, so Unova, Gen 5. And that is my favorite region, but it's not particularly known, I guess, for Ghost-type Pokemon. It's the generation that had more of like a dragon focus than anything else. So it's kind of, we can be multifaceted as Pokemon trainers. And I think the Pokemon 30th anniversary is starting to kind of see that and bring out a lot of that in all of us, which is really, really interesting. I'm loving seeing the representation. There's so much more merch on Pokemon Center at the minute. There's the Explore Pokemon range, which is like a little bit like Patagonia theme kind of style stuff, where there's like badges for different regions, there's pins, there's desk mats, there's t-shirts. I did a post up on my Instagram of me repping like Unova, Gen 5. I got the t-shirt for Unova and I got the desk mat as well that featured all the different regions. And so it's really, really cool. Do go check that out. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I wish I was. But go check that out. It's really, really cool merch to kind of help you kind of really dive into the What's Your Favorite theme. There's a lot of TCG buzz as always. So the TCG buzz at the minute is the new set that's coming, which it's Ninja Spinner in Japanese, but it's Chaos Rising in the West. So this is more focused on like Mega Greninja and a little bit more of Floret kind of themed as well. One of the most gorgeous cards is Eternal Floret, like Mega Floret. And it looks absolutely amazing. Some of these cards are great in this set. I don't think I'll be going for this set. I kind of pick and choose which sets I kind of go for, depending on whether I kind of vibe with them, to be absolutely honest. And I don't like the idea of having so many unfinished sets either. Right now, I'm working on Mega Evolution 1, the master set for Journey Together, which is like 96% done. So I'm very, very, very close to being done with that one. Mega Evolution 3, which is our most recent set that's come out, which is Perfect Order. And also the Mega Evolution, no, not the Mega Evolution, the master set for Black White, so the Black Bolt White Flare. So they're what I'm working on at the minute. I won't be going for Chaos Rising, I don't think. There are some great cards in there, though. It's not a huge set. We're looking at 37 secret cards and 83 for the base set. So, we've got it's an okay size set. It's more like 120 overall. So it's a decent size set. Nothing huge again. I thought it would be bigger compared to the smaller size of Perfect Order, but they look roughly the same, which is interesting. So I think we're due a huge set after this, and the biggest set after this, not even rumor-wise now, it has been confirmed. We've seen some art this week, which was Abyss Eye, which is more focused on Mega Darkrai, which looks awesome. I have to say, I'm so here for like a dark, moody, spooky vibe set. So if I don't do Chaos Rising, I'll most likely do Abyss Eye. This one, there's been some news around the Japanese set. The card's rising a little bit in price, so it's coming with a little bit of, is this the right set for them to do it with? Will this hit enough for them to commit raising to the price? I don't know if that'll happen here in the West. I guess that depends on country, whether you're listening in the US or the UK. Price could rise, so we have to kind of keep that in mind. It's like anything else nowadays, I guess, isn't it? But, we can keep that in mind. I don't think that'll stint or hinder my love for the Pokemon TCG. So I'll end up getting them anyway. Let's be honest. I'll end up getting them anyway, whether it's slightly higher in price or not. But we've got a little more merch, like I've already mentioned. And so, so loads happening in the Pokemon world right now. There's always so much going off, but a lot in the TCG at the minute. But let's dive into today's main topic, because this one is the one that I've been really, really excited to talk about. So our next segment is the Master Ball topics. This is our main topic for the podcast now, and that one is, why do Ghost-type Pokemon feel so popular right now? Now, like I've already said, I'm always so here for Ghost-type Pokemon. I will always represent my favorite ghost types. My favorite type, I guess, overall, I love all the ghost types, to be absolutely honest. My favorite being Mimikyu. But I think this is the first thing. I think the first thing to understand about ghost types is they're not just designed to be scary. I think a lot of there's a misconception that I think all the ghost types are literally just spooky, and that's kind of it. There's not just a surface level to them. A lot of them are actually built around stories or emotions, and a lot of them have a folklore or something much more deep and a lot more kind of emotional with them as well. It's not always just that they're purely spooky. A lot of them, such as Burnett or Phantom, Burnett has a story where that Pokemon, especially in the anime as well, is actually a cursed doll, essentially. She's a haunted doll, because in the anime there's I can't remember what episode it is or even what season, to be absolutely honest. But Burnett, there's a girl and she ends up moving home, a little girl with her family. She ends up moving, and the doll is placed on these boxes, and the people are told to get the boxes, moving company, get the boxes, move them all out. Let's get them into the truck. Let's get this family moved. And Burnett ends up being left. The doll ends up getting left. And the doll is left on the side. It's waiting for the owner, and it eventually becomes like not particularly a vengeful spirit just yet, but it becomes haunted. It becomes possessed, essentially. There's no unnegative way to kind of say that. a spirit enters it essentially, and it kind of becomes alive and goes hunting for the the child or the person or whoever left that doll behind. And in the anime, the girl has all grown up at this point. It's been a long, long time since Bennett was able to actually find the child and becomes a vengeful spirit. So and then it becomes a full Bennett, I guess. But there's a lot more emotion there. Bennett is a Pokemon where it was actually there's a lot of emotion. It became a vengeful kind of ghost Pokemon because of it feeling left behind, it feeling unloved, it feeling lost. I think that's so kind of dark and deep and sad. And I think there's a lot of things like that. Phantump, I believe it's Phantump is the Pokemon where their lore is it's actually a child that got lost in the forest and unfortunately passed away. And then there's Trevenant, which actually is more of a theory of Trevenant is the guardian of the various people or kids or spirits that wander through the forest a little bit like Phantump. So Phantump kind of evolves to be the protective entity of different Phantumps, which I think is really cool. I think it's not evil. It's just a lot of them are misunderstood. I think that's an interesting point for these Pokemon to kind of have that kind of depth to them. We see Gengar. Gengar's one of the most popular ones where we see Gengar wait for his trainer that left him on, and Gengar waits on the steps in the anime, and it's so, so sad. We wait for, we see Gengar and we kind of wait with Gengar essentially for this trainer to come back, and Gengar waits so patiently and he doesn't come back. And, someone else comes for him, I guess. But I think that's something really interesting that there's a lot of the time Ghost-type Pokemon have that human connection and have a human emotion connected with them in their own story and in their own background that makes them what they are. I think there's a big finger being pointed at us, I think, with Ghost-type Pokemon and how they become what they are. I think there's something really interesting there. But then you've got Pokemon like Mimikyu, and this is where things get really, really interesting. I think that connection, whether it be in the anime, in the TCG, in the games, in whatever, in real life, it can be a connection to us as actual people, as Pokemon fans, as well as actually just having the connection that makes the Pokemon themselves, or makes them the Pokemon, I guess, like Bennett, like Gengar, like Phantump. I think there are some that really, really resonate with us. For me, that Pokemon is Mimikyu. Kind of coming back to that, what's your favorite theme and idea at the minute with Pokemon? Mimikyu is my favorite, and there's not to get too deep with it here, but like one moment that really made this kind of click for me was European International Championships in London in February this year. Recently, I actually got to meet Mimikyu in person, which sounds crazy. It sounds ridiculous to kind of say it, but I think seeing the Pokemon that you resonate so much with in real life becomes something so, so special, and it feels like it kind of unlocks something, I guess. It feels like you finally come full circle, I guess. I've got the plushies on my desks, I've got the cards. There's all this kind of like memorabilia, I guess, for Mimikyu, and then kind of getting to meet him at EUIC. The championships was just so special. We didn't actually think it was going to be like a meet and greet. I'm saying it like he's a celebrity, but I didn't think. We saw the Eevee one, we saw the Pikachu one, we saw the Snorlax one. Then all of a sudden on Instagram, Pokemon UK posted a little photo, or I think it was a reel of like a surprise appearance, I guess, of Mimikyu at EUIC, and it was minutes after seeing it. I was in the queue to play Pokopia, the little like trial that you could play of Pokopia at EUIC, which was amazing, and I'm addicted to that game. And being able to kind of see actually today Mimikyu will be around at some point, and we randomly seemed to check and ask this one person that was working there at the event, is Mimikyu gonna pop up? Are we gonna see Mimikyu? Do we get to have photos with him? and it was like once every hour. And it was like we had like 10 minutes to wait. So it was perfect timing. It was absolutely perfect. But it was so special. Mimikyu is my favorite because I think growing up, I hid so much of myself to try and fit in or try and be cool. Or, at school, I was that nerdy kid that liked Pokemon, that liked anime, that liked what people called the weird Japanese cartoons or that kind of stuff. I got, it wasn't popular back then. It wasn't the cool thing to be into. It wasn't the thing you should be into, It wasn't it wasn't like it is now, It wasn't what it is now. And Mimikyu represents that kind of time for me. I guess of putting on a mask, putting on a facade to try and be loved and try and fit in, try and find a place in the world. And Mimikyu, I think that's why I really resonate with Mimikyu. It really kind of drives it home of where I was and where I am now. Of actually, no, I'm going to have a space in my house that is filled with Pokemon stuff. I'm going to go to these events. I'm going to wear a Pokemon t-shirt. I'm going to wear Pokemon Converse to go to the shopping. I do not care, and having that confidence that I do now. Whereas Mimikyu, I don't feel like has that and has a lot of hatred towards the world because it feels like it's not accepted. Mimikyu feels like it's not got a place yet or not found its place yet. And that's why I love kind of people or trainers like Acerola that specifically have Mimikyu as their Pokemon. Not their signature Pokemon, but she does have it as in her team. And, we see a lot of her art is fixing Mimikyu's costume and stuff, which is something I would 100% do all the time, even at the risk of unaliving if I saw Mimikyu's real form. But I think that's something super, super deep. And there's something about Pokemon, Ghost-type Pokemon, not only having an emotional connection to their own storyline, their own kind of evolution line, their own lore, but also what they have for us and what they mean for us. I think that's something that's true for any type. I don't think it's just ghost types. I think because ghost type Pokemon seem the most emotionally driven and the most emotionally kind of connected, I think that's something that makes it easier to kind of connect with. But I think there's something you can find within your own favorite Pokemon when you ask your question of what's your favorite. Why is it your favorite? What makes you driven to that Pokemon? What is it? There is something. Every Pokemon is someone's favorite. And I love that idea that we are so diverse. We have so many different connections, so many different emotional ties to different Pokemon for different reasons. It might be a place in time. It might be a feeling. It might be a vibe. It might be, however, it might be a physical location even. Why not? I think there's so much. But Ghost-type Pokemon don't just look cool to me. I think they mean something to me. I think there's something really, really deep there. That was way more emotional than I had planned. But I like that you get that. I like that, being able to kind of really, really go through that. But let's go through TCG. So we've already kind of mentioned a little bit about the TCG, but there's some that are coming up. There's some that are coming up, and then there's some that are like my favorite cards that kind of fit this theme as well. So let's dive into those as well. So now bringing that into like the TCG, the trading card game side of things. Now, I've actually been organising my Ghost-type cards recently. If you see me on Instagram or TikTok, I have a Ghost-type binder. It's a Vault X binder. Soft plug, if you use code ChibiWeeb at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order. So do use that. Do soft plug there, but do use it. It's ChibiWeeb. That's ChibiWeeb, and you'll get 10% off. It's really worth it. Get yourself 10% off. Save yourself some money for your hobby. This hobby is expensive enough, so save yourself 10%. But I love the idea of sitting down with a coffee, or any other beverage you choose. Mine's usually a coffee, because I do it in the afternoon. And looking through the binders, and I have a Ghost-type specific binder to collect it doesn't have to be like every card. It doesn't have to be like every single one. That'd be great. That'd be so much work. I also don't have the budget for that because the Gengar cards are enormously priced on the market. So that's just not going to happen unless I hit the lottery. Then maybe. But, there are some favourite cards, and I love the idea. And I think you could do this for your own favourite type or your own favourite Pokemon specifically either as well, is setting up a binder for that specific one, that specific type, or that one to really celebrate it and let yourself really dive into this. There's some awesome creators like they do like an awesome Mew binder, and it looks so good. So good. It's binder dreams, if I'm honest. Mine's a little bit more rough and ready feeling, if I'm honest. I really need to work on mine. I really want to do I forgot what the binder technique is. The one where you is it Mori? I forgot what it is. I'm so sorry. I forgot what it is. The one where you can kind of get you print out an image, you'll lay the cards out in a different way instead of just all putting them in. I love that technique, and it's so pretty. My printer, I don't think is good enough to print that good an image, so I need to kind of maybe do a different way. But yeah, tangent, and it doesn't matter. But you can set it up however you want. But I think that could be a really, really great way of celebrating that Pokemon and celebrating that theme. Like, there are some that I'm kind of weird with it, to be honest. Like Perfect Order, for example, has a illustration rare of Blade, which is a steel and ghost-type Pokemon, which is the swords, essentially. And they look so good. It's a gorgeous card. I posted it recently on my Instagram, so do go check that out if you have time. But there's that card, and I'd want a duplicate of it because it's going to go in the Perfect Order binder, ME3. But then I also want it to go in my Ghost-type binder as well. So I really want to duplicate that. Don't have to do that. It's still technically got the card for the Master Set. But I like knowing I've got it in both. But that one is one of my favourite cards at the moment. It's so gorgeous. There's so much detail. It's like Dual Blade floating above some suits of armour in like an old castle kind of vibe. And it is so kind of like gothic horror vibe and spooky, but really detailed, really lovely looking. And it fits it so well. One of my other favourite cards is actually one of the Mazoto cards, which is the Frostlass card. And I forgot what set this particularly comes from, but it is absolutely stunning. It is Frostlass, the Ice-type and Ghost-type Pokemon, coming through a traditional Japanese home in winter at night time. You can kind of see the moonlight shining through the window. Frostlass is kind of letting a lot of snow in, and she's kind of floating through the home, hunting through the rooms, I guess, looking for someone. Maybe it's trainer, maybe a victim. I don't know. It's so stunning, the art in this one. I was so lucky enough to have got a print of and got it signed off from European International Championships in February, and it's framed up in my office at the minute. It is so stunning. I'm so happy with the fact that we managed to get one of my favourite card arts in a poster form and signed by the artist as well, Mazoto. Absolutely awesome. An incredible experience. I'm so happy. It was the first time I'd managed to kind of get that at EUIC. It was fantastic. But there are some great cards for ghost types. There's one, and sometimes it's not only the ones that are the super decorative ones, it's sometimes the common ones as well that are the awesome ones, the ones that give us the most kind of, I don't know, you can kind of pause with them a little bit longer because they're not the super special ones. Sometimes always the common ones deserve love too, but sometimes it's those ones that make us stop more because you don't expect them. There's in Perfect Order, the newest set in English has Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar in common, uncommon, and rare card types. But the Gengar card, there is a GameStop one that's got the stamp on, which is going everywhere online. It is super popular right now. I don't really know why, to be honest. I really don't get it. But it's like any other Gengar card. I guess it is super expensive to try and buy if you want that specific one. But you can pull the normal one without the GameStop logo on it. I pulled it in the ETB, the Perfect Order ETB. You can pull it in the normal packs as well. But it's really cool. It's Gengar in a little cabin. It came through the window. It's doing a little attack or some kind of like psychic kind of dark attack kind of thing. There's a cabin vibe. It's got that kind of quintessentially spooky look, which is really, really cool. And I love that it's a common card. A lot of the time, we've just had Mega Gengar EX. There's a lot of different ones. For Gengar, there's so much love for Gengar, which is awesome. You know, we all love Gengar, right? We can all agree on that. We all love Gengar. But sometimes it's the, oh great, I won't be able to get my hands on this because it's Gengar. You know, sometimes the TCG community or the scalpers ruin it. You know, we've all been burnt by that before. But being able to kind of pull that and have it be a normal rarity card is awesome. You know, sometimes having the opportunities for a Pokemon like Gengar to not be a super rare or a full art or an illustration rare is great. And that really only helps collectors like me that want to building a Ghost-type binder or just want to collect the sets in general. But yeah, anyway, tangent over. You know, there's so many different cards in the CCG for Ghost-type Pokemon, and I'm sure there'll be loads for your type as well. There's 100% is. But maybe think about a binder as well. Do like a themed binder for yourself. It can be a really cute little sideline to collecting the cards anyway. It can be really, really fun to kind of work through your bulk, organise the bulk a little bit as well. Who's to say you couldn't have ones for every single type? That could be really, really cool, you know. Do it. Why not? Why not? But even in the CCG, you can feel like that same kind of personality come through of whether it be the emotion in the cards, the story through the card art, things like that. And I think you can curate that in a binder. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. So let's go through the hidden ability. So Ghost-type Pokemon aren't just designed to be scary. They're designed to be a reflection of emotion and human connection, I guess. And I think that's something that no other type really does in the same kind of way. I think Ghost-type Pokemon, because they're designed in a certain way, because they're designed to be the spooky one, it does allow for that deeper, darker emotional connection to kind of come through and have that kind of reverence for and that kind of deep connection inside. I think that's something that many of us could connect with them. If you've enjoyed this episode, do make sure you follow the podcast. I'm going to be picking this up so much more. I'm so sorry for the hiatus, but I am back. I've got a new podcast structure. I've got a new settled office. Oh, it's all settled, guys. And I genuinely love to know, what is your favorite Ghost-type Pokemon? I'm so here to talk about spooky stuff all day. I love Ghost-type Pokemon. I love horror movies. I love spooky stuff. But yeah, let me know, what is there a Ghost-type Pokemon or a Pokemon in general, any Pokemon that you emotionally connect with, that you think, yes, for me, it's always been that Pokemon, or right now it's this Pokemon. And I think it'd be interesting to know if they change. You know, do they change? Have you changed recently because you're in a different place? Are you in a different mindset? I think that's fine. There's no judgment. But I want to know. I think that'd be really interesting. You know, what does that say about us? What does that make us connect with? Where are we at? You know, Pokemon could be something that's more than just it's cute. It could be something that actually, at this point in my life, I loved this Pokemon because it represented this. Or at this point, it represents this. And now, you know, now, I love this Pokemon because it represents this. I'm in a different headspace. I'm in a different place. I'm in a different region. You know, I think that could be something really, really interesting. There's some kind of like PhD thesis in all of this, I am sure. And I will become a professor, a Pokemon professor, if you will. Because of it, I think it's really, really interesting. I think there's something psychological there, you know, without going super, super deep and weird with it. I think there's something there. But thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next episode. I'm really hoping to do these like every 2 weeks at a minimum, but every week ideally. So do keep up, do follow the show, subscribe to the show, do wherever you find it, whether it be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you found this. click follow, click subscribe, whatever the button says, do it so you'll never miss a new episode. I'd really, really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much. I've been Ryan, Chibi Trainer. Do follow me on Instagram, TikTok, that kind of thing. With the binders, I am a VaultX affiliate, so do use code ChibiWeeb and you'll get 10% off your order. So do go check those out. There's binders for everything, so do go have a look. But thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.